IVM.
Long ago, three young men decided to form an alliance and get into a future. The three men were Amar Akbar Anthony, and the film, of course, was beautiful. But we have three other men who formed a geek fruit. Not so interesting story. But their future is all about science fiction, nerd culture, and comic books. That's right. If you're too lazy to read a full book, read a comic book. If you're too lazy to read a comic book, let Geek Fruit tell you about a comic book and comic books. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Kripaya dhyan dijiye. The language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, it's called Cyrus Says, episode 2869. Not been seen or watched or listened to in the last 4 years, but we keep trying. We've got a fabulous guest on. I'll bring him in a second, but first I want to just quickly rant. And that is about this comedy, well, I won't take names, but this young female comic made some comments. Some people up in arms, destroyed Habitat. This is should have taken names and I took Habitat, mistake number 3. But my issue is for free speech, I have a suggestion for the government and for everybody, right wing, left wing, central wing, everybody. Why can't we create a small area, like maybe one part of Azad Maidan or one small little fort area or somewhere in Powai Lake area, wherever. We'll figure that area later. Where people can come and say whatever they want to. Okay, just whatever you want to and you can't take offense. The law is that this is the free speech area.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
This is my copyright, by the way, since it's my idea. So Government of India, please make sure that I will pay the relevant GTS and everything else, but this copyright remains mine. And we'll take this idea further with some artists on our show. We have a fine young artist on Cyrus Says today. His name is Vikram Kochhar. He gets paid exactly the same amount as Amitabh Bachchan. Not true. We thought we'll just start with that. But he's got a very interesting platform. We'll talk about his life, of course, everything that he does, all about him. But we'll start at the top, which is, I think we're living in this lockdown world and people are finding different ways to entertain. The entertainers need to find ways and the producers who plan it need to find ways. And so I think he's going to tell us first about, I think the state versus Malti Mhaske. Is that the correct one, Vikram?
That's right.
By the way, Vikram Kochhar.
Yes, hi.
You will not say the name, Vikram. You see, after 25 years in the business, pehla naam banana padega na. But I don't know why. The simple rules of broadcast are not able to sink into the head. So it's Vikram Kochhar, a TV actor, artist, anchor, the works. And he's here to talk about, it's Zee Theatre. So let me understand firstly, exactly platform kya hai, and it's Zee Theatre, but it's a telefilm.
Truly speaking, it's a, if I speak clearly about it, so it's a platform which is a media perspective platform, but a play which is recorded on camera and which is shown to you. So if you look at it in a way that it's a telefilm, I won't say that it's a telefilm because it's a stage play which is shot by the cameras and it is presented to you as it would happen if you would be there as an audience.
Wow. And just to put it into perspective, behind you, on top of you, there's a fan, a panka.
Yeah.
My question to you, Vikram, is it on 3, 4 or 5 speed?
I think it's on 3.
Conservative man. See, these tell us everything about your personality. All we need to know is...
Middle class.
Huh? Middle class. We were middle class, bhai. The lockdown ke baad we are under middle class. Or middle class. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so coming back. So this has been shot now recently or this has already been shot?
No, this was shot about 3 years back.
3 years back. So now going forward, what's the plan? Because I've heard about people doing these plays now online, etc. So actors like you, until they allow you, of course, to stand together and perform, etc. in conventional fashion. Is there some other idea now? Ekta Kapoor cancelled shoots, for example, after starting. No, not blaming anyone because nobody knows what to do. But do you have any idea what can be done?
There's a lot of things which are happening lately. In fact, a lot of like we are talking on a video conferencing at this point of time. Mm-hmm. So there are plays which are happening on Zoom, and then it's you can invite people on a watch party where where all the artists can be there together, and they will read out a play or they will act out their own parts. And it will be performed like a show, as you will see it. In fact, there are a lot of people who are also selling tickets while doing these plays. So they have been able to make money also at the same time. Recently, I was watching, in fact, one of those where about 70 audiences were there. Of course, 70 tickets were sold, but there were more audiences present in there. So, एक ticket पे 5 भी सवार है.
Of course.
So, वैसा वाला भी.
You can sublet it, yaar. I just realized you buy the one ticket because it's one connection. And you're absolutely right. And if you have a house of 10 people or in the building, you can cheat and get people up also into your flat. Very smart thinking. I like it. Already the Indian mind has cracked the system and we found how to do the dal mein kala situation. Very good, very good.
Again, completely middle class.
Yeah, very good. Why not? Let's cling to our aspirations. Let's cling. So coming back to the whole concept. So you yourself, do you think you'll be able to work in the next month or so? You think this is going to be, you're going to have to try all these other ideas?
In fact, right now I'm at a shoot. They have started shooting something at Ramoji City Film, Hyderabad.
Oh, Gopal is there, our friend. Gopal, are you with him?
Yes. Gopal is with me. He's just
from my side, Salah Gopal. Where is he? Call him here.
Just over a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare dhyan dijiye. We have to take a quick break. While Vikram tried to find Gopal Datt Tiwari himself, a man who worked on The Week That Wasn't for a very low salary with me for the last 13 years, but now is TVF's finest talented actor. Gopal Datt, you bastard!
What is this? Where are you?
I'm in your living room, yaar. Ramajus, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's great.
सबसे बड़ा चोर और hypocrite 3 महीना का सजा के बाद and now you're running and घुमावing all over the South Indian continent quietly.
What webinar is this, Cyrus? What are you doing?
We're doing a podcast. Cyrus says, Vikram.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I had no idea he was with you. So next is your turn after this. So go and do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You're more difficult to get than Shah Rukh Khan, boss.
नहीं कर लेते. I'm free here.
And listen, that what you sent us was damn funny, huh?
Yeah, no?
And that girl was, how do I say this without Me Too case? Very attractive young lady. And talented, also talented. Both.
Yeah. So Vikram shot that.
Vikram shot that? Yes, put him back on. We have to give him credit.
So let's do it. I'm free here. So
how many days there? 1 more week, no?
No, I'm here till end of this month.
Abhi kya ho gaya? 15, 16, 17. So till 31st. So we'll do it for sure then.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
But how are you otherwise? Good, everything?
Same thing, Baba. Mera kuch change nahi hai life mein. Same house, same wife, same painting.
No, but you're going for the shoots.
Our normal shoot is there. Okay. Let's see next month if something is there which works up as on floor. But in Mumbai, it's not yet like it is in Hyderabad. So let's see.
ठीक है, great.
आपके पीछे वेटर भी खड़ा है.
Yeah.
Vikram, come back. It's your show. Wow. I know it's a podcast. I know people can see this, but I'm really having...
Yes, completely shielded.
Yeah. Is the waiter an actor or he's a real waiter?
So he's a real waiter. He's brought some breakfast.
Bichara. I thought it was his big break in a small film. Anyway, Vikram, sorry. Come back. We wasted time with Gopal unnecessarily. He's a very senior figure, but I didn't know you shot that little gag for us on Week That Wasn't.
Didn't get it?
Yes. The gag that we put on our show. So thank you very much for that. You will get credit, and the normal payment, which is absolutely nothing, will reach you soon. Sorry. So let's get back. We're talking about this play. Let's talk a little bit because we are told to promote this. The State versus Malti Mhaske. It's about a murder. It's a caste politics murder situation, is it?
Yes, that's right. So it's about a girl who has accidentally killed a lady, right? A lady at whose place she works. But she doesn't remember that what exactly has happened and how has this murder happened. So it becomes, because she is a lower caste, and there is a lawyer which is being played by Smita Tambe.
This is all female. Where's Vikram in all this?
I'm a psychologist. I'm playing a psychologist in this whole show. So I help her to crack this case, that how and why this would have happened. So it's more of a psychological...
She's killed the person, the lady, but she doesn't know how she's killed the lady. Like a dual personality or something like that.
Something like that. So but she hasn't. Basically, she hasn't, but the blame has come on to her. And she doesn't remember that what exactly has happened with her. That is because her being a low caste girl. So she doesn't remember what exactly has happened with her. And because of a lot of trauma which she has gone through in her life, she doesn't remember. She has that thing that where your mind completely switches off. You do not remember that what exactly has happened with you.
Yeah.
So by taking the advantage of this kind of a thought, she has been trapped into this whole crime.
Boss, I used to have the same problem when I consumed alcohol. I used to drink and not remember anything. And then,
Something simple.
Yeah, they would call up my wife and say, boss, thoda control mein rakho, yaar. You know, it was quite embarrassing. And I still don't know what all I've done.
And next is about,
next day, what? It goes on for weeks after that because you meet, aaphi? Same problem?
Same problem. Something of that. But over here, I'm a psychologist, so I crack it and I tell them that what exactly would have happened. And because
don't give it away. But it is a murder or it is an accident?
It's a murder.
It is a murder. So it's got all that suspense also at the back.
And it's a courtroom drama. So basically, everything gets revealed in a flashback kind of a sequence. But there is a case which is going on inside a court.
And you realize one thing, all Hindi film courtrooms, and I suppose even in South India, all the courtroom dramas, they have the same sort of frame as you have right now. The fan is always, Pankha is visible. Pankha is always visible in courtroom dramas. I from Justice Chaudhary downwards, I have seen and observed. If I don't see Pankha, it's impossible. I have to see it. During the monologue of the lawyer, the judge's final sentencing, jo bhi hai, there's always the fan visibility. I think the fan plays a very important role in law.
Which is true. And plus, it's like when you take pauses, you should not think that it's a freeze frame. No, the life is moving up there.
There you go. That's right. I didn't think of boss. You're fantastic. You added a lot to our show already. Okay, Vikram, I want to talk about your life also now. We have you here. The lockdown is going on. Pehla lockdown ke bare mein, obviously, because whatever. Were you settled in Mumbai during the lockdown or somewhere else?
No, I was settled in Mumbai.
Okay, were alone or family?
Alone.
Okay, so how was that like? I mean, I live with 9 people and it's bad enough, but I'm thinking whoever has to live alone, good or bad?
It's quite hectic, in fact, because load of work. You need to wash your clothes, you need to clean the house, you need to wash utensils, make food. So do everything for your own. And plus, there is nobody you're living for. So bahut sara wo bhi hota hai. It's kind of depressing also at points because you lack motivation. Then what are you doing this for? So sometimes you would for some days I was just lying on my bed thinking that if I don't move inside the house, if I don't move much, so I do not have to clean it the next day. So it's better to stay at one place.
That's a very good point. Except I disagree with the bed. Because when I lie on the bed, I start touching myself. And I feel that leads to wrong expectations at my age group. So I would not use the bed, but I understand what you're saying. It makes sense completely. My good friend Kunal Vijekar, who lives alone also, he said he gave up eating in the hall. He just started eating in his room only. Because why go to the hall? It makes no sense.
Exactly.
So I could not understand first what it meant, but now I realize these are big issues. When you're living alone, ghumne mein, idhar se udhar jane mein, who the hell wants to go through it? So I'm sure. Slowly understand that.
You realize that 450 square feet or 500 square feet of a house is a lot. Exactly. Humans do not require that much of a space.
Correct.
You'll be done in about 200 square feet or so.
So what you're saying is all you need is a chair.
Yes.
In your case, a bed. In my case, a chair. Because of vulgar practices that some of us have. So, but we're joking about this, but it must be really depressing. You're away from you're probably a very social guy. You're in the theater, you're in the television line, you're surrounded by people, you're performing, you're acting, you're getting a lot of validation from audience, people recognize you. And then suddenly you're just stuck, What is that like? People are not dealing with this whole thing about how depressed some human beings can get. They want to bring Sushant's name back into it. Were you depressed at all? I mean, is it fair to say?
In fact, there were many ideas which I was bombarded with. I was thinking of doing what not. I started writing. I had to read certain books which I started reading, and I never cooked food before than this, and I think now I've turned into, I can call people, I can hold a party for about 10 to 15 people and make food for them. So I've learned not many dishes to prepare. So that was a kind of a learning experience.
But what did you cook? Can you just tell us what exactly?
I learned how to make pancakes. No, dal chawal is, of course, I learned how to make pancakes. Something specialities which I learned was, of course, a chicken is something which I learned to make. Pancakes.
So your dish is called just chicken or like butter chicken?
No, it's chicken, just chicken. Trust me.
That's not aiming very high, huh? Aaj maine chicken pakaya. That's it. That's not a curry. It's not a butter chicken. It's not a tikka masala. It's just vaguely somewhere in the family.
Yeah, you can eat it. It's edible.
Chicken Kochhar.
And litti chokha.
Okay, not bad. So all this from the internet, obviously.
From internet, and in fact I was shooting in Banaras, so we used to have litti chokha a lot, so I loved it so much that I thought I might as well also try to make it myself, and I also packed it and gave it to some of my friends, so they loved it. So it's a good skill.
So you're one of the actors who's now keeping all the other options open. So you can turn chef, you can turn writer, you can turn other, but these are all positive things, nothing negative. Not feeling like terrible, lonely, sad, angry, frustrated.
Nothing of that sort. But the only thing which troubled you the most is that sometimes you would want, like I wanted to shoot a little film at my place. So I wanted somebody to come and shoot. And I wanted my society to give me a permission that, bhai, thoda sa, we can do something, allow some person for about 5 to 10 hours so that somebody can come inside, shoot and go back. The societies are a big problem in Bombay. They're like, they've got the whole power. And
I hate them. They're the worst people of India. The bloody society fascists. They're worse than the government. I agree with you totally. Yeah.
So, unka chal raha hai.
Chal raha hai kya? It takes one of them.
Feudalism hai.
I don't know how it works in your particular one, but in ours and the ones around me, basically everybody blames somebody else. I don't mind, but Sharma on 7th floor, he'll have an opposition to it. Better you don't. So everyone's, I don't know why we point fingers at government. We are all the same. This sort of hypocrisy in dealing with
it is true. In fact, they have a lot of stories where they have caught people sneaking some of their friends inside, and they boast about it. That other person was actually sneaking inside. I caught hold of him. He was like, car ke andar chupa ke le ja raha
tha. Hardened criminal, we've caught him. I think in the old days, you would try to smuggle a girl or a boy or whatever, because you're having an affair. Or something like that. Or maybe some guy who did drugs would, smuggle something like that. But here, you're actually just trying to get a guy to do some work. That's it. You just shoot something for your profession, nothing more than that. And they make you feel it's just, there's something wrong with this whole concept. This whole lockdown, I think people should be punished for coming up with lockdown. Whoever came up with that should be jailed for life. This is what I feel.
Cyrus, when I was coming for the shoot, so my secretary asked me, "You're going for a shoot?" I was like, "How did you know?" So apparently I was talking to a friend of mine over the phone, and I was crossing my gate, the main gate of the apartment. So my guard heard me saying that हाँ मैं जा रहा हूँ, ऐसा करके कुछ guard ने सुना. So the guard called the secretary. He called him and he called me back and he said, "You are going. So how you are going, and do you have some safety guidelines? Please posted them to me, as one of my friends want to start a television show. So we just want to know that how shoot guidelines are like." I was like, "You do not have to give that excuse. You want the guidelines, you can take it." But they have gone up to these limits. Like, you cannot even work outside.
The same people, if it's their profession, when they have to work, they will find a way to work,
Of course.
if they have to do it. So that's the whole thing, is people are just, not thinking straight about what is the normalcy of the life ahead of you. Instead of just thinking about the very second that we're in at the moment. But anyway, coming back to these Watchmen, you pose a very important thing. We have to break this story as far as possible. People think that James Bond and, KGB and ISI and RAW and all this, they are sophisticated spy networks. But the fundamental spy is the Watchman. The Watchman has more power now than, in fact, he has the most power in the building. You realize that? Aane jane, it's in his hands. So basically the concept of who comes and goes, only one man actually controls. That guy standing there at the gate. So yes. I want the building societies to pay the Watchman what they pay themselves, nothing less, because he's that important now. What do you think?
True. Agree. Completely agree. with
Yeah,
that.
fantastic. Okay, listen, enough depressing talk. Let's now talk about your life and career. How did it all start for you, Vikram? Where are you from? How do you become an actor? How are you friends with Gopal, and how do we get rid of him?
First of all, I'll start where I began this journey. I was, in fact, I flunked my 12th class examination. I was a PCM physics.
Okay, wait, we'll play some music.
Right.
Because it's a beautiful movie. I love these stories. You physics, huh?
Yes, so I had science in my 11th and 12th. So, like, you pick up subjects. So I had taken up sciences, and I flunked in physics in my 12th class examination boards, basically. So I had to give a retest. तो जितने सपने थे इंजीनियर बनने के, किसी बड़े कॉलेज में जाने के, वो तो वहीं टूट गए because
sorry, not to be engineer.
So my sister told me that you can still get admissions on ECA basis, which is another sad story at this year because DU has scrapped off ECA admissions. So I filled up some forms in DU and Kirodimal College में ECA के through मेरा admission हो गया. And which was like a surprising thing that how. But उनका audition होता है and all that stuff. So I became part of a theatre society called The Players. From there, the foundation started. So I again dropped off my first year, thinking of giving my engineering entrances one more time. But at this point of time, I was too much engrossed in theatre, which I realized that I love this thing so much and I'm having a gala time, so I would not leave doing theatre. I did around 11 plays in my first year.
Wow.
So, of course, I gave my retest and I just passed. Then again, I was again... of course, I passed. The retest that you just needed 33 to pass. There and only one subject to prepare. So, I nearly passed. I got around 40, 42, something of that sort.
Wow. Flying colors,
Yeah, third division.
So then were you tempted to go back to engineering?
I was, but it was also kind of a pressure from the home. Why don't you give a try? So it was an old decision which was lingering on, and I had changed by the end of the year. So I kind of
so family can tell the neighbors कि खुद सब कुछ हो गया. He had the engineering degree and decided not to follow it. Yeah, fair enough.
So just moved on from there. And again, started doing theatre, and parents could not also say no to it because I was admitted into the college because of theatre.
Right.
So 4 years I did theatre in college. Then I was having good time. People liked the performances. I also directed some plays. People liked that too also. So I was like, it's good that I'm able to translate my ideas into something and I can communicate with my audiences or people or my parents, whosoever, and can gain some respect also out of it. Then I went to NSD, and in 2009 I graduated from NSD. After doing NSD, I was like, there is no turning back because you have already given you another 3 more years. So it's around 4 years, 1 year of working experience, then 3 years of NSD. Then I thought, okay, start finding job as an actor. I got I got some work at Kingdom of Dreams, and from there on the journey carried on.
Kingdom of Dreams, the production in Delhi only.
Yes, Kingdom of Dreams. So it was. It started in 2010. So we were the first. I was one of those first 8 actors who were selected for that.
But so, when you go to NSD and all that, basically what happens, I think people don't think about it this way, is your confidence firstly goes up, right? Because of just going on, surrounded by performers, acting, performing, the whole, everything, the whole gamut of theatre being done. And after that period, it's not just the fact that you come from NSD, but the fact that you're now like a pro, you're ready. You can do anything.
Which is true, because they train you so hard. They train you in each and every possible way. We have a very hard schedule over there. It's like from morning 7 to 7 to the evening. 7 to 7 is a normal schedule which we have.
My God.
And plus the homeworks, plus there are other works also which you are involved in. So generally it gets up to like you're working from 7 in the morning till 12 in the night.
Right.
And you're doing what not. You're reading, you're discussing, you're doing physical work. You're making some props for the play, you're making some sets. So continuously into something or the other.
And you're also falling in love.
That's true. Everybody does that.
That's very interesting. 2 years, 27 plays, 32 affairs.
Yeah, that's true. NSD is famous for that.
But it's also true that you guys, Gopal is from there, for example, so we get a lot of information from him over the years. It's a tight group also. NSD boys like to, sorry, not boys, NSD guys like to promote each other. When you come out, your bigger names are there. When you approach them, do they help? I mean, you've got such a strong list of alumni.
Yes, but some seniors do help and some seniors do not because...
Achha, so they do list. Give me the list. Let's make it right now. Anupam helping, not helping.
Not helping much. But I think he helped.
Gopal, helping or not helping?
I think he's helping. He's helping.
Yeah, you better say he's in the next room, yeah.
Yes. अभी show भी कर रहा है पूरा.
बाकी है ना? You've just started. Right. Yeah. So that's not there like it is in FTI where they look out for each other. The generation above always, I mean, just helps you open doors because that's the main problem.
That's true. In fact, I got introduced to Nasir Saab because of that, and I was a part of Motley also in the beginning. So that gave me a little good start at Bombay. Though I was not acting in his group, but I was doing lights, I was doing other stuff, but I was a part of a theatre group where I could meet people, where I could see how the world functions here in Bombay.
Right.
So that access got opened because of that.
So when did Vikram Kochhar get his big break then? How firstly?
I think so. It was a television show which I did, which luckily happened. I was doing Zee Theatre, in fact. I was working for a show, for one of the first shows, which was directed by Vijay Mehta. So Hani Trehan, there is one of the casting director. He casted me for that. And at the same time, I got a show called Sumit Sambhal Lega, which is a remake of Everybody Loves It.
Correct, yeah.
So I was like, now there is no economic side of it, which is like surviving in Bombay. You need money, you need work for a longer period of time. So I asked Vijay Mehta that can I leave this play and join that show because those people need me immediately.
And the show will pay you proper money and the play is paying you nothing, huh?
Yes, kind of. The play was paying me something, but not exactly what show would pay me. So she said, I can replace you if I get somebody like you.
What
so
is
I was
that?
Like, exactly, that's a tricky one. So I was like, I will
Mommy, Daddy, bacha banao.
So I was like, Vijay ma'am, what I can do is that I can pick up a guy, I will train him, whatever I was doing, whatever my thoughts were, whatever my ways of acting are, I'll teach him everything in a month or so and I'll deliver that boy to you. I did exactly the same and that thing worked. And she was so happy with that other person that she said by the end of it, I got a duplicate, so I don't need you. So it was a good thing. Yes, that's how it happened. So that was my first break.
Ever you have trouble with Vijaya, man, or anybody else from the theatre who live in South Bombay, you call me. I have influence in this area. I will make you don't have to work so hard and find some guy. By the way, the guy you chose, is he also now a known actor?
He has been doing certain films, but not that known. But yes, he has been getting offers after that.
Okay, fair enough.
Worked for him.
So Sumit Sambhal Lega is the one which puts your face onto the screen and then you start becoming a household name and people recognize your face where you go. And then obviously more work starts from there. How did you feel? Because you're an NST boy, you got some success in Delhi. I'm sure in the theatre circles and critics and people who follow art and all that who would know you after some time. The group, the community will know you. But once you get onto television, then, the Bajewala knows you. The guy on the road looks at you and says, Dekha hai TV pe. So what is that like when you suddenly realize that now you've arrived? People know who you are, recognizing you, pointing at you.
Initially, it is quite embarrassing. Okay, fine, he knows me. I did not know how to face it. I did not know how to react to this. So I was pretty shy. Of course, you were feeling good about it. But it was also like that, okay, now what to say? There is nothing special about it. I think the reason behind that, because why I could not be very confident and much happy. And I'm like, yes, I'm there. I was not that because while doing this television show, I was feeling that I had done a very big mistake by signing this show. I was like, this is not the kind of work which we are taught to do. And ye kya hai? Kya ho raha hai? They asked me, they were like literally bullying me. But that bullying carried on a very serious note. They asked me, aap lambe ho jao.
What?
I was like, because the real character, the character I was playing, that is Raymond's brother.
He's about 6'10" or something.
Yes. So he's tall. So you should also, you should be tall. I was like, I cannot be. I should start having long looks or something like that. Some medicines which used to come earlier. Kya karu? So but then heel wale jute pehen ke ghumo. So I was like, okay. I was wearing all those high heel shoes and I was keeping my spine erect and stuff. They're like, okay, can you change your voice? Can you make it bass?
He's got a very deep voice, that guy.
So I was like, yes, because you want to work. You're not agreeing with their fact, but you're like, yes, I can do it.
Asked you if they wanted a 6'10" guy, they could have found a 6'10" guy.
Exactly. That was my question, but I could not ask that. I was looking up. I had got this work. This was one of my first major cracks, so I did not want to give it away.
And it's a super hit show from abroad also, so it's a high profile.
True. Plus, these guys, the Indian guys, did not cast me. So the guy who has written Everybody Loves Raymond, he was down at Bombay for setting up the show. So he casted me. He was auditioning people. So that's how I got a call. Because there's a guy
he saw something in you, and he cast you in spite of knowing that the American version, the guy's a giant.
Exactly. Because it was not a look-based casting. It was a casting that the guy can hold the character or not. And there were improvisations which we went through. And he said, fine, I need you. I want you to be in the show. So that status play should be there with
Vikram, why did you complain to him? Could you call him up or Skype him or something that where the gentleman is? And tell him?
Of course, I could do that. I haven't done that as yet. Because of a lot of things.
Sylvia, get me Raymond, Ray Romano. Ray Romano, right? That's his name. Ray Romano, the comedian. I will fix this whole thing. Don't worry. So amazing. So they bullied you for a long time on the set like this with these stupid requests.
In fact, I also had complaints with them. I told them that I'm not feeling comfortable while working over here. And I think as an actor, I should be at ease so that I can perform easily. And I was given a very wrong explanation in the same for the same thing, that I was like, you're new and you're working with very big actors, so you might be feeling conscious. So I was like, you do not know anything about me.
This is Sumit Raghavan.
Huh?
Sumit Raghavan was in the lead.
This was Namit Das who was in the lead. So this is, but the complaint was to him. Yes, I had a little talk with him about this, that I was like, I'm not comfortable. I think I should feel at ease. He would just boast me up and he would say, it's okay, go ahead. But I think by the end of it, about after 3-4 months, I found my way. And I was like, balls to you, just go ahead. Whatever is coming to your head, go ahead, do your thing. Do not think much about what is happening here and there and what is being told to you. In fact, there were arguments, like the producer once came up to me and she said, you should work hard.
What?
I was like, how should I didn't realize, but you should see how Namit is working hard. You should work hard. I was like, I don't forget my lines. I remember my lines. I know what the character is, know what the scene is. I have read the whole episode. Now, what should I do? I should stand in front of you and start reading the script loudly. I am not into a habit of that. I'll do that in my green room and I'll come on the set aram se.
Vikram, you should have told her what a famous theatre actor has told another producer of the same type hundreds of years ago, which is, Abhi Chutia, I became an actor because I don't want to work. You should know this much at least, no? God. It's amazing the politics. I didn't even think of it from that angle. I thought it would be a nice, happy family. Maybe it happens in all tele-serials, because...
I don't know, but this was the only place where it happened. And after that, I was like, okay, this is kind of a learning. I think I became very cautious of... I knew how to fight with all these things later.
I think the problem is that, how do I not use a racist term? The foreigner who got you was not involved beyond that. Because if it was their production and they got you, it would be different because this is their guy. I think maybe the fact that you were not the guy of the Desi producers, somebody somewhere is feeling like, his guy didn't get the job. Who knows? There must be more to it.
Might be, because those guys were only there for first 2 episodes and they left. They just set it up.
And Vikram, we should not be petty and small-minded. You've come a long way. Just make a list of all these chutias, and as you become bigger and bigger, make sure they never work again. All right? And the world should live in peace and harmony. That's what it's all about. Okay, we have to take a quick break, then we'll come back and lots more to talk about where you are right now, what you're doing, and the life and times of Vikram Kochhar when we come back in a second.
रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे पॉडकास्ट लगते हैं. नाम है फुटबॉल शुटबॉल.
Presenting Football Shortball, a show about 3 friends discussing our favorite game over a beer. Sometimes 3, maybe even 5. Hi, I'm Shiva, and with me are my two sidekicks, Gaurav Sapre and Karthik Iyer.
Sidekick? You mean like Batman's Robin or Van Persie Robin?
No, I mean like Alexis Sanchez, but with a little more skill than just playing the piano.
Ha, just shows how the best players at Arsenal are mere bench warmers at United.
Oh, thank you, Iyer. But you're a Fulham supporter. So whenever you say anything to support me, I question my beliefs.
Just like how Griezmann would say, एक बार मैंने जो decision ले लिया, तो मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
Banter aside, we will talk match reports, transfer rumours, top controversies, fantasy football picks and so much more. So grab a beer and tune in to Football Should Ball every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast app, website or wherever you get your podcasts.
Good news, we are back. Break. I love it. I love doing this short break and seeing the reaction. Just quickly to tell you, growing up, I have my two best friends, Vikram Tarani and Neeraj Kochhar. If they had a child, it would be Vikram Kochhar. Just think about it. This is karma, man. We have a connection in a way because these two names, and I used to call Kochhar by his surname, and I used to call Vikram by his first name. So it's literally, hey Kochhar, hey Vikram, hey Kochhar. That's how we should talk. He and I were called by our surname, Brocha Kochhar. We were called like that to rhyme it.
So it's like a birth of a Captain Planet. It's like that.
And it was like 6 degrees of separation. There's connectivity in the whole entire universe, somehow or the other. And Kochhar wanted to be an actor. I'm also in the same business. Vikram made hundreds of crores by selling some plantation. I don't know. Some Gochi which we can't expose right now. It'll all be on page 107 of my second book. The friends I grew up with who I hate. No, they're lovely guys. Okay, so let's now, you've done Sumit Sambhal Lega and all that, and your leg is in the door sort of thing. What happens to you next? Good experience in the end. At least you get recognition. People know who you are. People like your performance. So it's a positive thing.
Yeah, it's a positive thing. But I think to come out of what I was doing at television, it completely spoiled your acting. It completely spoiled the way I used to act, the understanding of what was there. So I think I tried my level best to go back to theatre so that I can rejuvenate and I can come back to my normal self.
Yeah, but it's a complex bhi aate hai na log ke mind mein ki you guys, the theatre actors, me also to some extent, people who first do theatre, they always look down on every other form a little bit. Is that a fair comment?
Look down? No, I won't say that. I think we become judgmental because हमारे दिमाग में कुछ ideas fix हो जाते हैं acting को लेके. So that is true. We kind of start judging people by looking at them and saying that why this person could not think of that, or why this person is doing this, why there is an image of a different form in your mind. So you get into those nitty-gritties because that starts coming to you on a regular basis.
So basically what you're saying is that the hard work you do in the theatre, which is all kinds of hard work from backstage to lighting to standing outside selling tickets to you're doing the smallest role because somebody fell sick. After doing all that for years, you're ready to do a teleserial which you can do in your sleep. You just have to learn 4 lines and shoot for 10 minutes and then rest for 3 hours. So, what I mean, when you look at it, we get paid nothing to do a play, which is lots of hard work and it's like a live performance and you are one shot and boom. And then you get to do something where there's no pressure really after a point once you relax. You can do the take again. They can do it differently. Sometimes you're doing the same take 4 times, you're doing it in your sleep. So somehow I feel sometimes we all look down on television slightly.
No, it is also because even if you want to do something again, you want to make that thing better, because sometimes you just start off and you haven't thought of it in a much detail. So your backstories are not coming alive. You're just speaking lines. You also feel fake and you want that take to be again, but the director will come to you. It's okay. Let's move on. It's okay. And you're fumbling lines. You haven't performed good in master shot, because that is how television was, that they take your master, then they come to your close-ups, 2 shots and you're done. This was a sitcom. This was like a 5-camera setup. So we were much at ease because being theatre people, we had to perform the whole scene.
Correct.
But then again, we used to rehearse and then we used to go ahead to do the scene also, because it will be shot like that. And there is an online edit which is going on. So it was a different form of doing television, which we were involved in. But the only thing is that the director won't give you any second chance, or they will not be interested in what is your backstory, what is your character, where it is going, till the point your dialogues and punches are making sense. It is okay. The learning which I got on the set was that television required loud acting. So you should do everything very loud. That is what is required. So it's like more of performance every time. So that kind of put you in a backseat, and you would say that 11 महीने से एक ही चीज करे जा रहा हूँ कुछ तो.
Okay, I'm working on Vikram Kochhar's biography. A Star is Born. Chapter 4 will be All TV Directors Are Choots. Fair enough? You get to get the right title so that my readers come back to read everything. All right. Yeah. I just wanted to touch on that for a second because we talked to a lot of people from the theatre. Basically, you're an NSC boy, end of the day. I mean, you've read a lot of plays, you've studied them, you've looked at it from different perspectives, this sort of Rashomonic eye to everything. And then you'll end up doing a television show. I can understand exactly where you're coming from, where the director and some, they're just, how do we say, intellectual capacity is not the same as yours. And after some time, it's difficult for you to, work without feeling some level of contempt. So don't worry. You're safe here. Our podcast is not listened to by anyone. They will never know. You can say, but let's get on with your career, Vikram. So you've done that. You wanted to go back to theatre because, as you said, you need to rejuvenate, and that self-respect, is that a fair word for yourself that you're doing something?
Yes.
So aage, then what happened?
And then went back to theatre. Was taking a break, tried to do some plays and stuff. Was also producing a play myself. So did that for about a year. Then was looking ahead to move into films or something which I would get time to prepare for. Like if you're getting into a project, you should prepare for it thoroughly and then get into it so that it makes sense. But I wasn't getting that kind of work. So again, television started happening. And there was a show which I got, which again got shut. After we shot for about 31 episodes, which again got shot because the channel never opened. It was a channel by the Kari brothers, which was supposed to be launched,
right,
called Happy. So we were doing a show for them, and वो shut down हो गया. कुछ पैसे मिले, बहुत सारे पैसे डूब गए.
31 episodes का क्या हुआ फिर?
It came on Star Plus, Hotstar.
Okay.
They sold it off to Hotstar later.
So then they didn't want to complete the season?
No, never. The show ends abruptly. That's it. So, आ गया. उसके बाद then Money करने का happened. Then the film things started happening. So first film which came to me after a long time was Money करने का. Then Sacred Games happened. Then Kesari happened. Then from Sacred Games, Manmarziyan happened. And then from that Sacred Games 2 happened. Then Prakash Jha called me for another film after watching Kesari. So there's a show called Ashram which happened. Then there was some. Then I started looking at that. Whatever characters I'm picking up now should not be what I have already done. Even if I'm getting a similar kind of a character, I'll completely write something else for it. In the sense, I will rewrite my backstories into a completely different scenario, and I will perform it that way. If I'm performing a policeman here and policeman at the other place, I'll completely give a different background.
But this is a great lesson for politicians because if they take the Vikram Kochhar school of acting, then if you be the finance minister, you cannot again be the finance minister. If you be the prime minister, you cannot again be the prime minister. So going by what you're saying, I think a lot of people should think about that. Once you've done once, you have to move on to the next thing. Why only actors? It's a very good question. What about marriage, Vikram?
Huh?
Marriage के बारे में कुछ सोच है? If you're married once, you can't repeat the same.
I wish you could do that.
Oh, damn it. So then you got
over हुआ मेरा होते रह गया 2 बार.
I'll just blame you. It's the Vikram Kochhar biopic. Chapter 4, TV directors are chutiya. God, I can imagine. You've got a bit of Nasir in you, it looks like. As you get bigger and more famous and more powerful in the business, I can see a few people being thrown out of set and kicked and pushed and all that. It happens. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, Nasir's always like that. True.
So you've got all this happening now for you, but then we were hit by the lockdown. Your career's taken off when this lockdown has hit you. You're stuck there, and suddenly you guys have got a job again in Ram
yes
at the moment.
We've got a job again.
So what are you shooting right now? Can you tell us, or it's a secret?
No, we can. It's a show which is going to come on Sony Live. It's a crime comedy. So it's a different.
Like the Vikas Dubey case. It's a crime comedy. No? Vikas Dubey is a crime comedy only. He's a criminal. End mein jo hua, I mean, it's a piece of comedy at the end. We can't quite understand how he was shot in the back, but in the chest, from behind in the chest, for example. But when he was running away. And anyway, we'll make that film on a later date. So crime comedy, and you are playing?
I'm playing a cop over here.
Yeah.
So there are two cops. One of them is very serious, and Gopal is playing the other. He's my senior. He's the inspector. I'm the sub-inspector.
So he's like a slight buffoon, funny character.
Yes, he's like that.
And
I'm one of those. I'm a serious guy. So I
for
keep
my
telling him that
generation, you're like Inspector Amar, Vinod Khanna's character in Amar Akbar Anthony. You know, straight-laced and solid kind of cop, and he's more like Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, somewhat like that.
Got it.
So that is what is happening at this moment, and waiting for some other projects which were shut down, projects which were held. I think they restart, they pick up again. Because I think our industry is affected the most. I've seen so many of my friends, cinematographers, costume designers, actors, directors, going back and not planning to come back to Mumbai.
People are not doing the maths on this. 4 mahina ho gaya, bhai. 4 mahina. Not one, not two. In life, you take a break. People take breaks, midlife crisis and all this. People take breaks. But you have already completed 4th month. You're going to the 5th month of no earnings. Okay?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not just entertainment. Everybody, you can't take 4 or 5 months off. The only people who can are those who have so much money that they can live the generation without it, which is your top 5 Bollywood actors. But as you said, the rest, everybody has to work. There's no end to it.
Very true. And plus, it's a very sad story that government is segregating works on the basis of essential and non-essential basis.
So what the hell is that?
Exactly.
Essential to A and not essential to B.
Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't start me off on all this. I want to start my own party now. It's like that. But we can't even do that because we can't meet. I think India will be more politically conscious because of this lockdown. That's for sure. Because people are getting harassed, and there's only so much they can take at some point. There will be a fallout of that. But coming back to your life and times, if we just go to a happier time forward, what's next for Vikram? Are you going to produce and direct? Are you going to, having seen it from all angles, do you see yourself? You said you've directed a couple of plays. Would you like to become a full-time filmmaker as well?
I would love to. But at this point of time, going one by one, step by step. So from acting to writing would be the next step.
Okay, fair enough. I hope that one day when you let's correct a few mistakes in the television and film line. One is, don't come and tell people shoestring budget hai, paisa nahi hai isme. Because having heard that, if somebody phones me up, I already tell them that because I expect it. It's like that. You don't expect it.
It's generally there. Everybody says that.
और shooting कहाँ पे? Mada Lane पे होगा या मीरा रोड का इंटीरियर के कोने के किनारे के फ्लैट के छोटे के रूम के अंदर. After some time you just feel so depressed because you never get the big names and the big location or anything like that. I hope that changes at one time. Ask me anything time. We have Silvery joining us. This young man with the beard also want to be actor, but at the moment want to be stand-up comedian. Not want to be, he's already there, working hard, except for the lockdown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you haven't been following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. Their support is much appreciated. Before I tell you about some of the shows that we have for you this week, I really wanted to kind of really point out the incredible efforts of our host and our team. We've been able to maintain most of our production schedule in this lockdown, which is going into 4 months now. And I couldn't be happier with the fact that our hosts and team have been able to kind of just get all of this stuff out so incredibly well. So I just really, really wanted to kind of call them out for that and thank them for their support in this time. And since I spent so much time talking about that, and I want to get you out of here quickly, let me give you a quick update on a few shows that you should check out this week. On Cyrus, we had Amish Tripathi, really, really interesting discussion. Both of them dive deep into history. Monty Panesar was on Edges and Sledges, another really cool show. On Advertising is Dead, Tanmay Bhatt showed up. That was a cool episode. Malini Agarwal, also probably better known as Miss Malini, showed up on Absolutely Right. It's just been an absolutely gangbusters week in terms of like the kind of guests we've had and the conversations we've had on the network. Please do check some stuff out. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
The first one comes in from Chirag Shetty. He asks, hello Cyrus and guest. My question is, how should a common person like me understand or read between the lines from news information that we get? Because the right and left are both pushing their own political agendas. Many people are still confused what happened at Ladakh. No one clearly knows. How to form a well-rounded opinion on any news information we received? What's your take on this?
Good point. Let Vikram take this. How to get balanced opinion when everybody has agenda, Sarji. And in India today, agenda for sure.
Truly speaking, that you cannot have a balanced opinion. You can have what is your opinion. So I think that would be a better stand, that you should have your own opinion and use your own brains. And you should be able to stand for what you feel, what right is. So that's what I think.
And I also, good point, and I'm thinking Mr. Shetty, if he's trying to get different opinions, not necessarily popular opinions will not necessarily be the right opinion. My argument with my family all the time is just because the government is saying so doesn't mean it's correct. The government is saying bang the burtons and clap hands. You don't have, it doesn't, we just follow blindly all the time. We have to stop following blindly. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, very interestingly, you picked that up. I have, like in most part of the North India, people were banging up.
Here also. Huh?
Yes. But my parents stay in Hyderabad, and they were also doing it. When they were doing it, in their apartment, I could hardly see people doing that. In Telangana, it is not that.
Right.
So the opinion which people had in North India or in Maharashtra, that is not the opinion which is there in Telangana or in Odisha or some other places.
Also, Mr. Kochhar, opinion is of us middle-class people in urban cities. It may not be the opinion of different class of society in different areas, because India is really a strange country and mixed bag. But I think we should question more as a country, just as a sense of democracy, question more. We're too quickly accepting everything. Okay, mask will solve it. Okay, sanitize your hands. Okay, keep the guy away from you. Okay, I mean, we just accept it. I'm saying after all this, you're still stuck in this. So obviously, these things don't all make sense. Nobody questions anything. And will the police tell you 2 kilometers only? I mean, this is the most stupid rule ever. What does 2 kilometers make? I can still get it in 2 kilometers, but I can't go anywhere within 2 kilometers. So kya farak hai? I mean, think about it for a minute.
And how would you make my starting point and ending point?
Exactly.
How will you come to know about that?
This is a comedy show that has to be written. Just Nakabandi explaining where you've come from. This is ridiculous.
And one more thing, just wanted to add to that.
Please.
People think that questioning means that I'm trying to throw you out. No, it doesn't mean that. Questioning means that I'm just trying to testify that how strong your belief is and how logical your belief is. It is not about throwing you out from your idea of something, but it is just to ask you that is it worth what you're thinking, and is it strong enough what you're thinking? That's what.
No, you're right. Sell the idea, and if we buy the idea, we buy the idea, but sell the idea properly. Here, what's happened is people are just government or authorities or administration will say something, building panchayat will say something, or building cooperative society will say something, and we have to follow it. My only question: why can't we ask? It doesn't make sense. If you're going to shoot somewhere, why is it that watchman's problem? Beyond a point, it's every man for himself. It can't be like, no, you are going to bring the disease. What proof does he have that he's not going to bring the disease? And people are staying in the house and still getting the disease. We have a kid 1 lane away. The guys say they've never left the flat. They're older people. They've never left the flat. So how do they get it? So after a point, I think this is ridiculous. It's just paranoia and madness. I think it's better that you die on your feet, go as a working actor, you do your show, and if you die, you die. God forbid. I'm not saying that, please. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. Just sitting there in coma, waiting for the world to end. It's just such a negative haze of thinking. Gopal Datt Tiwari will never stand for it. And last of the liberals, I will follow him, whatever happens.
If I can add one thing, I think another important thing to form well-rounded opinions is never go by just one article on something. Always get multiple sources. Always make sure to back up your one thing that you read.
But Silvery, there's no number to, like Vikram said, it's about believing it. You have to convince me. If you convince me, I think that's the whole story, right? To convince me whether it's 1 article or 10 articles, and I believe that this has some logic to it. I can accept it. Now already they're saying it's airborne. Before there was not airborne. So like this there could be holes in this story. So the way I see it is you multiply the chances. There's no point to it because how much to hide? You can still get it. How much to cover? You can still get it. So, it's like Indian tax slabs. At the end of the day, they'll catch you and they'll kill you. There's nothing you can do. So people don't pay tax, so it didn't touch a cord. Generally, it was only black money. And demonetization was a terrible thing. 50% of his family left India within 24 hours. You have a family business, no?
No, my father, he was in corporates, yeah.
That's lovely.
Construction, yeah.
That doesn't sound correct. Make up your mind. Head of sales, builder.
No, he was the director of a construction company, of a real estate company. Yeah.
Okay. Can we verify which company and take more details? Or?
I mean, I can say the name. There's nothing wrong. It's if you want to know, it's DLH, Dave Land and Housing. My dad was part of that.
Really?
Not DLF. DLF is the Delhi one. DLH is the Bombay.
DLF is the big one. IPL and all that they read.
Yeah, exactly. Not DLF. DLH. This is the Bombay.
This is the smaller cousin. One letter.
Yes, exactly.
It's like FUC and just FUC. They're two different things.
Yeah, correct.
Vikram, sorry. One more question. Chalo, Silvery, kya hai aur?
Okay. Next one comes in from Shilpa Kumar. This actually is, you guys already kind of touched on this today, but by happenstance. Comes in by Shilpa Kumar. She says, "Hey, Cyrus, Silvery and guest. I'm an NRI from Thailand. I've been living in India for the past 3 years. I'm a freelance video editor and makeup artist. My work was going great for the last couple of years, was getting plenty of freelancing work. But then suddenly, because of COVID, any work that I was getting was no longer available. One of my clients even learned how to edit videos herself during this time. I don't know whether to be angry or happy for her. Anyway, because of COVID and no work, I'm having to move back home on a repatriation flight. And I feel like I have failed this living by myself period of my life. Wasn't able to support myself independently. What should I do to get rid of this feeling? Have you guys ever had moments in your life when just nothing worked out?"
Yeah, the sad part about all this is that we don't have an end date. If you have an end date, if we can say definitely 21st September, vaccine is there. So, you can plan somewhat and take your beating quietly. But here, every month, the news is getting worse and it's not ending. That's the worst part about this whole situation. But it's quite a sad story. Vikram, what do you think?
Yeah.
Young and feeling cynical. Normally, my age group and above should start feeling like this. This is a young girl.
Yeah, I think, but she should not be disheartened because this is the situation and this is the truth. So truth comes in this way, so you need to accept it and I think try to look at the opportunities which might be there because you should.
The client is learning it themselves, editing and putting it together. A lot of people have that. I know someone who's performing heart surgeries and he's an engineer. He said, I just tried my luck. Goes in there. 33% success rate is good in surgery. Yeah.
No, in fact, I just said that because, like Gopal Datt, he himself was doing this play with Shiba Chadda and all those people. Right. So they were able to sell tickets online. There are audiences and they are still carrying on theatre in some or the other way. Yeah. So I think this is a time where a lot of bad things are happening. We're losing people. We're losing lives. We are losing jobs. Economies are going down. So, but I think one should try and figure out if there is an opportunity here and there which you might be able to grab onto. Like there are online classes which are going on. You could teach makeup for a while to certain people. And you can also do that. So she should. I'm just saying that.
What be innovative to survive is what you're saying right now. There's no other option, and we have to use this medium.
Without like we're having this interview, yes.
Yeah. So this young lady who is now already come back, right, Silvery? Come back to India.
She says no. She's leaving India soon on one of those repatriation flights back to Thailand.
Back to Thailand. Okay. Yeah. So I think Vikram has got the idea for her, which is basically. I wish we could give them a solution or say everything will be okay, but I don't want to be like one fake government official and tell you all that. All we can say is just try and survive. As he mentioned, Gopal, our common friend, actor, they've been innovative doing their plays online, trying to sell tickets. It's a small business right now, but if there's no other option, that's the way we have to go. I've already told my family we have one meal a day till this ends. But the good thing is my dogs are getting 2 meals. So I know, Parsi, the priorities have remained good and correct. I promise you nothing to worry about. But we're joking about this, but this is what I feel really bad about. I hate to see young people becoming cynical or negative or losing that sense of positivity that only the young have. Before the world comes on top of you and you pay taxes and your parents are dying. And then believe me, it's not easy to be confident and positive. So the Silvery age group, and to some extent, Vikram, I think you're also not very old. I can see hairline to hair. It's just sad that they are worried and scared, at this early stage in their life. Because still to come is marriage, divorce, heartbreak, organ transplant, acne, pimples in the back of your body, which you can't see, but others can. All this is there to come still.
I think this idea of success which has been sold to us from school time, from the educational times itself. That is something which fucks up with us. And if the idea of happiness would have been something which would be with us, so we would find solutions to things, and we would understand what Darwin actually wanted to say, that survival of the fittest. So how to become fit is something which we did not realize.
Vikram, you hit the nail on the head. I would give anything to become a monkey. अगर आज बंदर बन गया ना, I can leave the society. I can climb down the pipe. I can go wherever I want to. Mr. Sharma will not chase me. No one's going to challenge the monkey. I can go to the Vajiwala. I can go to the chemist. I can go for a walk. I can take my dogs. You see a monkey walking two dogs, no one's coming close. Man, this is great. Darwin, if he could only reverse. I would like to be a gorilla. I think gorillas have lots of females. Which is I'm only saying from the male perspective, but in case we have a female guest, Vikram will change that. But for now, Chalo, do you have time for one?
The fun is mutual. I'm saying the fun is mutual.
The fun is mutual. And they don't have a Me Too situation in gorilla country yet. They haven't come. It may happen. You never know. Just let some Indians go there. Are you handsome? Hair on sawal ya nahi?
Yeah, there's one more, but it's also slightly political. Should I go ahead with it or let it be?
Your call. Vikram, political man, don't worry.
Okay, fine.
From the Dali, he's an actor, so there's no question of not being political. Huh?
Okay, this is related to something that we talked about on a recent Cock and Bull, but I think we can ask it here also. It says, hi Cyrus and guest. While it was horrible and upsetting what happened with the whole situation with comedian Agrima, Joshua and the Habitat, what's your opinion if the tables are turned? I mean, the goons who attacked belonging to a political party, what if the community got together and vandalized their offices and gave them a piece of anger themselves? They, being a political party, do not conform to the laws and rules, so similar rules can apply to regular people as well. It's not fair, and maybe an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind would be fair enough. What's your take?
I agree with it. I'm saying that they should, Habitat or these kind of places, or wherever, when somebody comes to vandalize and break your property, for whatever their reasons are, you should be allowed to shoot them. What is the problem? Since in this country, you can't have it one-sided, only one side does all the violence. So if it's going to be a violent world, I'm okay with that. Because after some time, it's just ridiculous, that people can just walk in. Look at the logic behind bashing and you're offended about something, rightly or wrongly. Okay, then you come and break somebody else's property. They may have changed owners. It may not be the same owner as from 1 year ago. There may be some old uncle sitting outside who has nothing to do with anything. He's just been told to meet somebody there for a job or something. I mean, it's just stupid. There's no logic. And not to say that they are right. How dare you take violence and beat and kill people because you feel offended? I mean, either we are a democracy or we're not a democracy. If we're a democracy, we have to allow free speech. Otherwise, and because taking offense is so relative, where to draw the line? Tell me honestly. I remember sitting with my producer on MTV and we were looking at women and talking about their body parts and all as men do, sadly. And then I asked him, how many times you have sex with your wife in a week? He got angry with me. Suddenly we're talking about women asses and this and that, no problem. And then suddenly because I talk about his wife is, Mahadevi and whatever. And then before you know it, we got into a physical fight and they're pulling us apart. And I was just fooling around, I was like, so how many times you bang your wife? That kind of thing. Next thing I know, how dare you talk about my wife? This backshot, 20 minutes back, Rupali and Pooja and Archana and all are passing and you're, I mean, what the hell? Okay, but I said you should do any of this. This is all wrong. Bad behavior. But just exposes how we think, We can't have different rules like that, It's ridiculous.
But by the end of it, it's a power trip, right? That's what people are up to.
Yeah. It's really to do with the actual issue. What do they know about history and the relevant people involved? If you ask them to do a monologue on a historical figure who they are offended by, I say, talk for 3 minutes about this figure. Yeah. He'll give you nothing. He'll say the name 3 times. That's it.
That's it. True.
I mean, it's not like an intellectual argument and discourse and debate will happen. It's not going to happen. But Silvery, you look scary. If you stand outside Habitat, I think we'll be able to stop a few people, including customers. What do you think?
Man, I'm 5'7" in height. I'm plump. None of this is going to work. Only the beard is a little intimidating because of the lockdown.
Adolf Hitler was also 5'7" in height.
Oh, shit. Yeah, wow.
He comes in many forms. Napoleon was shorter. Hemu, who fought the second battle of Panipat against Akbar. Well, Akbar was a kid, Bairam Khan. He was 5'6". Not that he was a bad guy. I'm just saying. You can have power with less height. Vikram, how tall are you?
5'8".
5'8". And they wanted to play Robert Raymond's brother, who's 6'10".
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yes.
Green screen. In our world, green screen laga do. No chroma. Yeah. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure, Vikram. Thank you so much for being on the show. Most of you will follow your career. And please say hi once again to Gopal. We love Gopal. I know I make a lot of fun of him. But without him, my life would be empty. 13 years of sitting and bitching about Kunal and other people. So thanks to all of us. Vikram Kochhar on Cyrus Says. Silvery, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Survive the life.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you. Thank you, Cyrus.
My pleasure.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything. I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
They are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.
Hey everybody. We have a brand new podcast series by Bloomberg Quint called BQ Conversations, which covers a range of topics like business strategies, latest trends in technology such as cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, and also personal finance. Episodes are out on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts.